So what does this actually mean? According to royal commentators, Prince William appears to be settling into a role that prioritises long-term credibility over short-term reassurance. That could mean fewer statements, more focused appearances, and tighter alignment between message and mission. It could also suggest that internal palace changes, whatever their exact nature, are being handled quietly by design for months. Cameras caught the smiles, the formal greetings, the carefully choreographed appearances. But behind those polished moments, something quieter has been unfolding. Not an argument, not a confrontation, just a series of subtle signals that royal watchers haven't stopped dissecting. And when it comes to Prince William and Queen Camilla, those signals matter more than people think. To understand why people are asking what really happened between Prince William and Camilla behind closed doors, we need to ground this in reality. This isn't about rumour, it isn't about scandal, and it certainly isn't about inventing conflict where none exists. What it is about, according to royal observers, is transition. Since the accession of King Charles III, the internal dynamics of the royal household have naturally shifted. Roles have changed, responsibilities have expanded, and relationships that once operated in the background are now part of the institution's visible structure. Prince William is no longer just the heir in waiting. He is the Prince of Wales with a growing leadership role, a defined public mission, and increasing influence over the future direction of the monarchy. Queen Camilla, meanwhile, has stepped fully into her position as Queen Consort, a role that brings both visibility and authority, but also requires careful navigation of long-standing public perceptions. That intersection is where attention has focused, not because of a single dramatic moment, but because of a pattern, a series of real documented public events that prompted quiet questions about what conversations may have been happening privately. And that's why this topic matters, because when institutions evolve, the most important shifts often happen away from microphones. The moment that truly ignited discussion wasn't a headline-grabbing exchange. It was a collection of appearances surrounding major royal events, particularly during the period following King Charles's coronation and the months that followed. Royal commentators noted that during high-profile occasions, Prince William and Queen Camilla were consistently professional, composed, and aligned in public. There were no visible signs of discord, no awkward interactions, no public distance, and yet observers noticed something else. Behind the scenes, reports suggested adjustments in how responsibilities were divided and how decisions were communicated within the royal household. Nothing dramatic, nothing confrontational, but enough to spark interest. There's no indication of crisis, no evidence of upheaval, just transition. And transitions, especially in royal institutions, are rarely announced outright. They're felt gradually. Some observers believe this approach will continue as William takes on greater responsibility, maintaining stability by avoiding unnecessary commentary. Others think the silence may eventually break more clearly once adjustments are complete. Both interpretations remain possible. What's important is not to rush to conclusions. Royal history shows that moments like this often look more significant in hindsight than in real time. What feels subtle now may later be understood as intentional groundwork. This channel is about understanding those moments, not rushing to conclusions, not inflating rumours, but reading between the lines with context. And Prince William's recent remarks, restrained as they were, give us just enough to consider without jumping ahead. So here's the question that lingers. Do you think Prince William's measured response reflects quiet confidence, Or does the continued silence leave too much open to interpretation? And when you heard his words, did they feel like routine messaging or something more deliberate? I'm curious how you interpreted this moment. According to several royal correspondents, Prince William began taking a more defined role in shaping the tone of future-facing royal work, particularly around causes, messaging, and public engagement strategy. At the same time, Queen Camilla was settling into a role that required balancing support for the king with her own public presence, patronages, and institutional expectations. This overlap raised questions, not about personal relationships, but about alignment. Who guides what? Who sets priorities? How are decisions communicated? Those questions came into sharper focus when observers noted moments where William appeared especially deliberate in his public positioning, choosing words carefully, emphasizing long-term stability, and avoiding commentary that could be interpreted as reactive. And notably, these moments often came after periods of heightened media attention on the royal household as a whole. Royal analysts were quick to point out that this isn't unusual. Historically, moments of institutional change often involve private conversations between senior figures. Conversations meant to clarify boundaries, expectations, and shared goals. There's no official confirmation of what was said, of course, but the timing of William's increasingly measured public tone, paired with Camilla's steady consolidation of her role, led many to believe that discussions had taken place to ensure unity moving forward. This is where it gets interesting, because nothing about this suggested tension. It suggested coordination, and that distinction matters. If you enjoy this kind of calm, detailed royal analysis, where real events are examined without jumping to conclusions, you might want to subscribe. These moments make a lot more sense when you see how they connect over time. Perhaps the most telling aspect of this entire situation is what hasn't been addressed publicly. There have been no statements from Kensington Palace, no clarifications from Buckingham Palace, no briefings suggesting disagreement or difficulty. And according to royal observers, that silence is intentional. In royal life, silence often functions as confirmation that things are being handled privately and effectively. If there were unresolved issues, history suggests we would see signs of it. Schedule clashes, conflicting messaging, noticeable distance in public settings. Instead, what we see is consistency. William continues to focus on long-term initiatives, speaking about systems, impact, and outcomes rather than internal matters. Camilla continues to support the king while maintaining a stable, understated presence, particularly in areas where continuity is essential. Royal commentators have noted that this balance reflects a mutual understanding of roles rather than competition. Still, public reaction online has focused on the idea that something must have been said behind closed doors. That reaction says more about public curiosity than royal reality, because institutions like the monarchy do not operate on impulse. They operate on planning. And when two senior figures adjust how they appear publicly at the same time, it often follows private alignment rather than public disagreement. A lot of you watching aren't subscribed yet, and if you're enjoying this kind of thoughtful breakdown, it really helps support the channel. British media coverage of this dynamic has been notably restrained. Rather than framing it as tension, most royal correspondents have described the situation as a natural evolution of roles. Broadsheets have focused on structure. Tabloids have largely avoided inflammatory language, and long-standing royal analysts have emphasised continuity. Several experts have pointed out that Prince William's approach closely mirrors how previous heirs handled periods of transition, stepping forward gradually, asserting influence quietly, and avoiding public commentary on internal matters. Comparisons have also been drawn to earlier phases of King Charles's time as Prince of Wales, though commentators are careful to stress that William's style is more reserved. Where Charles often articulated ideas openly, William appears to prefer alignment first, explanation later, if at all. Media tone reflects that. Coverage suggests confidence, not conflict, and that's an important distinction, especially in an era where silence is often misinterpreted as avoidance. So what does all of this potentially mean? According to royal commentators, it suggests that Prince William and Queen Camilla are operating with a shared understanding of the monarchy's direction, even if their roles differ. William appears increasingly focused on shaping the future, modernising causes, refining messaging, and building credibility over time. Camilla appears focused on stability, supporting the king, maintaining continuity, and reinforcing institutional norms. Those roles don't conflict, they complement. There's no indication of strain, no evidence of rivalry, just adjustment, and adjustment is inevitable during generational change. It's also worth remembering that private conversations between senior royals are not unusual, and they don't automatically imply disagreement. Often they're about coordination, boundaries, and mutual respect. Some observers believe this quiet alignment will continue, with William gradually stepping into greater responsibility, while Camilla maintains a steady, supportive presence. Others think public clarity may eventually increase, but only when it serves a purpose. Both interpretations remain possible. What's important is not to rush to conclusions. This channel is about understanding these moments, not inflating them, not dismissing them, but placing them in context. So here's the question that lingers. Do you think the attention on Prince William and Camilla reflects a meaningful shift behind the scenes? Or are people simply projecting tension onto a period of natural transition? And when you look at their recent appearances, do you see coordination or something else entirely? I'm interested in how you interpret this moment.